Good morning. It's good to have everybody in the PegNet community here on the live stream. I have the white paper in process. It's mostly done. I posted the link on Discord, which you will be able to find in the description below. The and mining is coming along. We're working on mining for accumulate, and if when we get that done, I'm really considering a mechanism to merge mine so that miners mining the PegNet would also be able to mine accumulate and earn some tokens from this. So I'll run through the white paper as it exists right now. So let me share this screen. And let me make that a little bigger so that it's a little easier to read on video. Okay, so sharing this screen. All right. So this is about a relaunch of the PegNet. Later in the document, I do talk about the idea that this paper will not cover rebranding. There's some issues with rebranding in the sense that the tokens are already issued under a PegNet.acme ADI, accumulate digital identity, and so that presents some technical questions. I believe that the possibility of renaming an ADI, assuming that the new name is available, could be a possibility on Accumulate. That is a proposal that hasn't been made yet to the Accumulate governance, but I think that would be a really useful feature because it's very, very hard to know exactly upfront what ADI you want for a particular application, and the ability to rename your ADI as long, and preserve the history would be a useful feature in Accumulate. So the abstract covers a little bit of the history, basically what the way PegNet was designed and the way it works. The Factum PegNet issues discusses the issues we ran into with the PegNet at the time that the PegNet was deployed on Factum. And I'm ridding the paper about any reference to PegNet 2.0. Let's not worry about versioning. We can do that as part of rebranding and marketing, which is very different than the technical aspects of the PegNet. So in the implementation of PegNet on Accumulate, there will be some issues that we ran into on Factum that we want to deal with. And we gave a list of things that were limitations on the Factum version of Accumulate. All of those issues we're going to deal with. So I list here, one of the major ones was we never really got a good PegNet wallet. Well, under Accumulate, we'll be able to issue those assets as tokens under Accumulate, and therefore those tokens will be handled by any Accumulate wallet. So we'll have a wallet day one. which is really, really great. And there's already a Accumulate wallet on Android and on the iPhone, and that wallet will be expanded and create more functionality in the coming months. So, wallet day one, that's great. The other problem that we had is we had to have our own PegNet Explorer for PegNet under Factom. PegNet under Accumulate can easily be examined with the Accumulate Explorer. It is great to have an Explorer that acts and follows all of the paradigms of a browser, because everybody understands browsers. If this was 1995, nobody would have any clue what we were talking about when we were talking about a browser. Today, in 2023, kids probably are practically born understanding the browser metaphors and the browser way of looking at data and information. So the Accumulates Explorer, being browser-like, is just very, very powerful, and the PegNet will just take that. The oracles will be very easy to examine on the Accumulate Explorer. Again, browser interface, super great. The Oracle prices will be easy to pull from the Accumulate API. No special API required. We can just repurpose the API of Accumulate. We'll also be able to leverage the staking code under development for Accumulate and use that to manage our own staking. So not a whole lot of development will have to occur. Now, the staking servers are still in process for the PegNet, but that's a very high priority, and that code will be available soon. The PegNet will have two new tokens, an ARB token and a MINE token. This has been discussed. The ARB token will be the floating token of value in the protocol, and that will allow arbitration between the ARB token and any asset in the PegNet that is not following its peg. There will also be a mechanism to do liquidity arbitrage, where buying an asset below its peg can raise the market price and bring it up to an average in the PegNet, and then you would be able to trade that token at its market price or convert it at its market price into something like USD or ARB. And the idea is you buy the tokens at a lower price, and you are able to get the credit of that market price in the conversion. It's an interesting aspect of PegNet, where we have created these barriers to abusing the PegNet's conversion and its unlimited liquidity. Average, to be clear, so the PegNet has to have a mechanism where we follow an average price of the token and a market price, and we don't give you full credit of the market price inside of conversions for the PegNet, because if we do, and tokens can be manipulated in the market, then attackers can use some market manipulation to get a advantage within the infinite ability to convert inside the PegNet. So what we're going to do is maintain an average price and a market price, and use that to create a synthetic spread. Now, the synthetic spread will allow you to leverage some of the advantage of the market price, but not all of it. And that limits the ability that someone can use to manipulate the market and gain an advantage in the conversions inside the PegNet. But you have to have some of that in order for arbitrage to work. So there will be a balance there. Tokens that have no, have way too much volume in the real world, in the market, such that they can't be easily manipulated. Those tokens don't need this restriction. The place where we need this restriction is on the ARB itself, because it won't have a whole lot of volume initially, and on tokens like Acme and Decred and maybe some other tokens that might not have enough volume. Now, in fact, Decred probably does have enough volume that it's difficult to manipulate just to get an advantage in the PegNet. So we'll take that under advisement, and the governance of the PegNet will come up with a formula for how we manage the spread inside the PegNet. We're going to add PegNet validators. PegNet validators are necessary to publish the Oracle data and other information inside the PegNet to Accumulate, to make that browser informant. And it also allows us to manage the APIs, and it also creates much quicker syncing with the PegNet by applications that might want to use the assets in the PegNet, because there will effectively be curated Oracle data and curated mining data for miners. Another aspect, it's not listed here, and perhaps I'll add it. Another aspect of Accumulate implemented PegNet is that we can publish mining data, and we can do some interesting point system, so that miners will not need a mining pool to mine effectively the PegNet, Accumulate implemented PegNet for the foreseeable future. Now, at some point, the number of miners might exceed what the mechanism that we have in the PegNet, in which case perhaps we'll update the PegNet, or we'll add mining pools, or mining pools will arise, one of the two. So the validators have a whole set of functions and perform a set of actions to make the PegNet very, very transparent, very, very usable. And they're listed here. The miners have a certain mechanism for collecting points. And the way this is envisioned is we'll have up to 300 records that are submitted in 10 minutes by miners at a hundredth of a cent per entry. And so it's going to be relatively inexpensive for miners to mine the PegNet, but there is a cost for writing these entries. It's just very, very low. Like I said, a hundredth of a cent. And for the top 300 entries submitted, you'll gain points depending upon how you rank. Higher proof of work gets you more points. Lower proof of work gets you fewer points. And every 4 hours, basically every 24 blocks, the highest 25 point earners will be rewarded, and their points will be cleared, and all the miners will continue to collect points. because miners are getting credit for past performance, they're all over time they can overcome no matter the bigger miners, no matter how much proof staking power the higher miners have, because the higher miners in the top 25 are losing points when they're rewarded, and everyone else is continuing to gain points until their point count exceeds what the big boys are producing, and then they get rewarded, and then their points are cleared. So everybody's points gets cleared when you're rewarded, and everyone gets to collect points at the rate that their hash power gives them. So as long as uh, miners are able to get a significant number of entries into the top 300, then they will earn points and they'll earn rewards. If um, a big miner with lots of hash power uh, decides that they want to um, deploy lots of miners that are evenly gaining points, then that provides an opportunity for someone with quite a bit less hash power to concentrate that into a single miner and exceed what even a large miner can produce and earn more points. So it's not perfect, but it does mean with this averaging that we have kind of a mining pool on day one within the protocol. And it's pretty similar to how mining pools work anyway. Um, there are going to be 4 tokens in the PegNet. One is the legacy peg. That'll be the peg that we've already issued to everyone. You'll be able to convert that to mine tokens at a rate of 200 peg to 1 mine token. The idea is to get the supply burned down. Right now, the peg has a supply of nearly 4 billion tokens, and at a very, very low price, you end up with precision problems on exchanges. So we're going to burn it down to a maximum of 100 million mine tokens with an initial supply of around 20 million mine, and that's a 200 to 1 conversion. So that'll help with the precision, so that the mine token, even if it has a low price, is still tradable on exchanges and dexes, which dexes will probably be where the mine token is first available. The mine token itself has a conversion, like I said, becomes the new token. It will take a user's action to convert the peg into mine. Um, hang on, fellas. Sorry. Very sorry for the interruption. So the where was I with the mine token? So the mine token will be 20 million. The peg will be counted against the supply of the mine token, because it has a one-way conversion of peg into mine that can be done by the user. So it's equivalent to a 200th of a mine token as is, and it'll just be a matter of conversion to get your mine token from your peg token. There's nothing in the accumulator that's even anticipated that we would be able to do that conversion for the holders of the peg, but this way they have their mine token. Now, the reasoning behind that is fairly simple. Everybody invested, converted assets into the PegNet in order to hold the peg token. And even if they converted it from some other asset, which is a small percentage of the peg supply, they still gave up something. So we want to preserve the value of the peg. It was basically a play to hold something that builds the value of the PegNet, and it was the rewards for mining. And so we're just or staking. So we're just going to convert the peg into the mine token, because that will also be the rewards for staking and mining. The factoid token was issued to everyone. We could have done the conversion at the time of issuance to Acme, but we didn't think about it. So we're going to build a facility to convert those factoids into Acme, which originally had, when Acme was issued, a 1 to 5, 1 factoid to 5 Acme conversion rate. So we'll just respect that inside of the PegNet. So if you have pegged factoids, you'll be able to convert those to pegged Acme. And then we have the 42 pegged assets listed here in our protocol. The token distribution of the Factom-based PegNet's going to be, this section is going to be a little more English explanation of the token distribution, and it'll cover a lot of the things that I said so far when I covered the tokens earlier. We'll have, this section is still under development about how PegNet works. It talks about the arbitration and the anti-conversion abuse features that we're going to put in the PegNet, the liquidity arbitrage as well as the token arbitrage, and we'll list basically how all of that works. The rebranding of the PegNet basically talks about the fact that we're not really covering it here. There are some other observations, obviously, footnotes at the end. So this is the paper so far, and it's open for comments, so parties can go in and comment about anything that they see, and that will greatly improve the paper. I appreciate your participation, but that's about all I have. So I will post the stream, and we'll look forward to talking to everybody next week.